Good morning, friends. Welcome to Coffee Talk this morning. We're glad you're joining with us this morning. We're hanging out here on A Street, just to kind of get a bit of a picture of where we were being led this last week. Thank you, Jeff, for leading us through this first stage, 1.2 version of Bless, and we've been studying this book called Bless, and we encourage you and actually welcome you to go find a copy if you're interested, or just check that out, or just continue to follow along with this sermon series as we work through Bless, and as we found, you kind of led us to this first one, letter B. Letter B stands for
Begin with prayer.
And so you led us to a couple things. You kind of encouraged us, as we saw Jesus pray, as we saw him dedicating himself to prayer, and the urgency that he had to begin his day, to continue, especially in those times where he had lots going on, that prayer was still absolutely vital for them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's so amazing that, Jesus, God, the Son, found prayer so necessary.
Yeah.
It just speaks of, in a way that we didn't talk about, but it speaks of the triune God and just how much love there is between them, right? And how much they rely on. It's hard to even know how to talk about the triune God, but God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit are so interconnected that he would, as a human who's also God, find that time to connect and intentionally connect. And but I like that you took us, it was your idea to come out on a street, because we talked about praying for our city, and we had a map, and we highlighted, different people were highlighting their streets. And so to bring us out on the street is really cool, because this is what we were talking about. Get on your street and pray. So I think that kind of something that we didn't really talk about on Sunday is what's next. So I'm praying for my street. What does that mean? Thank you for the sidewalk. I mean,
Yeah, thank you for the sidewalk. Or you just look like that guy who's just walking. Like, imagine if you're on a really small street and you just walk back and forth
and you're praying
all the way around.
But we want to pray intentionally. So this is a great opportunity to talk about that a little bit.
Well, I was just thinking, because as often happens with pastors' kids, they're in the church building a little more than the normal average person. And when the map that you revealed this Sunday was in the work in progress state, Micaiah was walking down the hallway with me inside, and like, what's this all about? So I tried to explain it, right? I wasn't going to be you'll have to wait and see. I thought, no, okay, we'll talk about this and, get them thinking through ahead of time. And I said, this is to help us. I said, if you want to pray for the people on your street, or the people living on your street, you could highlight your street. And then I realized, and I saw her wheels turning, I realized, when you talk about people living on the street, usually we refer to homeless people. And she's like, I didn't think there was any homeless. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, all of our neighbors and the people that we know and don't know. And
so I mentioned Darlene Butler, who shared this story, and it just, I think that has been brewing for a long time. And then when we were talking about this, the idea of praying for the people on your street really stems from that. She talked about a man who would be at the end of her driveway praying for her and her family, and then she got to know him, and eventually I think he was going to Lakeview, invited her to Lakeview, and she came back to the Lord partly through his prayer and other people she talked about on her street. So really that's a story of what we're striving to do, is pray for people on our street. So it starts with as I go by the house, Lord, I pray for the people in that house. And as I think about my neighbors next to me, do I know them? If I do, I can pray by name. If I don't, Lord, give me an opportunity to get to know them. And then as I get to know them, pray for them by name. And as I get to know them by name, I can pray for what I find out as they, and then we're going to get to listen next week and eat the next, and the different steps we can take towards hey, maybe someday they can meet Jesus. But more important than that is, Lord, help me love them with the authentic love where I just want what's best for them,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I really wanted us to do, is begin with prayer, is start here,
Yeah.
because that's what I need the most.
Well, I think that's what you're even leading us to, and Chris, even when with Makai's comment of like, that's the necessity of the first letter.
Yeah.
First letter is begin,
Mhm.
right? This is actually only just the first stepping stone, and
Yeah.
we're actually like, we're just trying to give this little handle, like a little
Mhm.
taste of this is where it kind of begins, right?
Mhm.
It begins with your street. That doesn't mean you can't pray for people on the side of the road who are having issues in their life.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean we can't begin to, you know, expand that circle, or see how God is going to do very amazing things as we get to know our neighbors. But let's begin, right?
Mhm.
That the foundation of all of this is going to be prayer,
Mhm.
and that connectivity with God of like you said, you know, for us to be able to see people as God sees people, for us to be able to have our hearts broken the way that God's heart
Mhm.
breaks for people who are hurting,
Yeah.
for a world that doesn't know Him, and to not assume that everybody doesn't know Him either, but actually instead to say, you know, God, would you help me care and lead more people to you, and to bring the good news of God as Christ did as well too, right?
Mhm. Yeah. No, it's really good.
So that it's all just a starting
Mhm.
point, right?
Mhm.
These are just simple handles. So like, if you see the map up in the church in the foyer or at the back of the sanctuary or something like that, we encourage you, go over. If you're ready to commit to it, highlight your street. But we encourage you to commit to that. This isn't, you know, highlight something because it looks pretty, or because that's where we live, or because yeah. But actually rather to say, I am going to follow through. I am going to continue on, and this is me actually committing to praying for my street, and
Yeah.
that's where it's going to start.
And so let me just give you some more inspiration here. This doesn't have to be how you do it, but it could get you out on a walk every day,
Yep.
because you go for a walk and pray for the people as you walk by their street. It doesn't have to be. You can remember the different places or the different houses. You can pray that way, or as you drive through. But wouldn't it be cool to kind of get out walking and as spring comes? That's one of the reasons we waited till spring to start with this, so we could be out walking and praying for our family. And there's just a lot of really neat things that beginning with prayer can do. But
yeah.
yeah.
So this is where we want to start, and so we're moving next week to the letter L. It'll be like an exciting reveal, even though Jeff already said, listen. So that's where we're kind of beginning, and we're going to go from there for the next few weeks, kind of between now and Father's Day. And speaking of that, we want to remind you about this.
Which we forgot to tell you on Sunday.
Well, we had talked about it earlier.
on last week, yep.
So this is Baby Bottle Brigade, and so this is through the Okanagan Valley Pregnancy Care Center. And so what they do between Mother's Day and Father's Day, they hand out these bottles as a simple reminder, a beginning of being able to, yes, pray for them, but also be able to donate and to share some funds with them, and for what they do and what they bring. They care for moms. They care for moms to be. They care for families that are facing some of these decisions, and so some of the funding, all the funding really goes to help that organization. So we encourage you to get behind this. We love seeing what God is doing through that, and you can check out their website and see a lot of amazing things that God has done to change people, and that goes until Father's Day. And so there's some exciting things happening there. So that's ongoing. Chris, is there stuff that's happening this week that's really exciting?
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad that I don't have to start listening till Sunday, because I'm listening today. Last night Tuesday night, we got to have all of the youth groups from West Kelowna get together, or a good number of them anyways, at Emmanuel. It was packed with youth. We had a fun night. We heard Kyle, who's youth pastor over at Sunridge, share and have our youth worshiping together. It was a lot of fun, and it was really great to see our youth coming together for that. I got a text this morning to remind me of another like interchurch ministerial get together today that I totally forgot about, because my brain is really focused on May Camp this weekend when our BC Association churches come together at Green Bay, and it's going to be really fun. We have like 240-ish people coming for that.
The biggest one ever.
And it is a full camp. You know, at one point camp was like, hey, you know, if you can't fit all the girls in the lodge, there's all these extra cabins, and I had to say to them, I need all of those cabins for the guys. So
that's really cool.
It's pretty fun.
To be bursting at the seams at Green Bay.
It is going to be really good.
You know, it's really cool that you have. This is kind of the week of inter-church connections. So last night it was the churches of West Kelowna. Well, today you're getting together with youth pastors from what, Kelowna and West Kelowna?
Children's ministry. So, from just West Kelowna. Yeah.
And then May Camp is kind of a continuation of something that happens year round with youth pastors.
Yep.
You are the NAB BC Association youth pastor dude that connects all these guys.
That is highly overstating things.
No, we heard it. We saw you do a video for our.
You have a title now.
Yeah,
self-made title.
Our AGM of the BC Association. You were highlighted. So thank you, Chris.
That got me as much of a raise as anything. But,
anyways, all that to say, these interconnections are really important, right?
They are.
Like for the kids to keep coming back to Green Bay, there's these relationships that happen beyond our city, beyond our church. Those kind of things.
I mean, it's good for us all to remember that none of us are in this alone, right? Not in ministry, not as followers of Jesus. Like, it's just a bigger version of kind of like even what we're doing by highlighting the map, right? Like, I'm loving to see each, so far we've had 1 week, just to see all the little neighborhoods and now have a blue mark in it. And to think that actually this is something as a church we're doing together. May Camp is one of those things where, in a similar way, I don't look at the lodge layout and go, hey, oh wow, but when and to just see a whole bunch of random people, what I see is actually, no, here's this group from Lakeview, here's this whole floor from Prince George, here's this other group from from Vancouver and from Surrey and Delta and all these different groups around, and it's kind of like a different version of like our blue map in a way, right?
Like little lights in these different communities.
Absolutely. That all come together to encourage one another, and then on Monday are all going back and continuing their light in their neighborhoods. And so it's really fun to get to be part of events like this and just see how God is working in those ways.
So, begin with prayer. Let's be praying for May Camp and for each of those 150 to 200 students that are going to be there. That God would do what He does best. Meet them where they're at. Inspire them, challenge them, whatever they need. Each person is different, but that God would do that, right? So
and especially if you're praying for May Camp, some of us are not spring chickens anymore, and these
pray
weekends
for
are
Chris
exhausting.
to be able to last.
But no, it's really fun. You know what? I do better than some who are maybe a little bit younger than I am. But,
good man.
I won't name names, but no, it's great. We're looking forward to it. One thing for church to be aware of as we move into this Sunday of the long weekend is that some of the kids will be in the service on Sunday, and just want to make sure that everyone's clear on that up front. We'll have the nursery as normal, so anybody who's under kindergarten age, and if you're kindergarten and up, when you arrive, you can grab a little kit of things to do in your seat. And we just don't have teachers available this week. Apparently, people are away at things like May Camp.
That's a good reminder. Begin with prayer. Let's be praying for more teachers.
I think we have a number of areas around the church, a number of ministries who would love to say, hey, what about it? Like we've been talking about facilities needing help with things, and children's ministry is another one of those areas. Often I'm sure worship and tech and all kinds of different things. There's ways to get involved if. And another thing to pray, if you're praying, God, show me my place to serve, then we'd love to connect with you about different ways to do that, because there's lots of them. Depending on what you feel is your skill set, your interests, there's ways to get involved.
Great.
So hopefully that's a lot for you to kind of digest, but reminding that there's a wonderful weekend coming up, celebrating together as a family at church, celebrating for May Camp, celebrating for post Mother's Day. But all these things we are thankful and encouraging, and that we want to continue to pray for. And so blessings on your week. Hopefully you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you this long weekend.